All right, we are live. Welcome everyone back to another episode of the Progress Report. Nerd City has not joined us yet. Hopefully he'll be here soon. I had talked to him yesterday. We got Bigbunjeeeee in the house, a guy who honestly I wasn't really familiar with. It was Nerd City's idea to invite him, and I checked out some of his videos and they were really funny, and I see a lot of hype in the chat, so I guess I'm late to the
Hey,
train. But hey man, how's it going? Thanks for being here.
it's going all right.
Good, good. Did you hear anything from Nerd today or
I've
not?
not heard anything about him other than when he messaged me the link.
Okay. Well, hopefully he'll be here soon. The way this show works is I have a bunch of video clips for us to watch. By the way, let me know if the mics are balanced. It sounds like Bungie might be a little quiet, but I don't know if that's just on my end. So let me know in the chat. But what we do is we got a bunch of video clips to watch and then just give our thoughts and opinions on. And we'll may as well just get right into it. Okay.
ਸਾਡੇ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਵਿਕਟਿਮ ਯੂਨਿਟ ਦੇ ਜਾਂਚਕਰਤਾਵਾਂ ਨੂੰ 3 ਸੈਕਸ਼ੂਅਲ ਅਸੌਲਟ ਜਿਨਸੀ ਹਮਲੇ ਦੇ ਮਾਮਲਿਆਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਸ਼ੱਕੀ ਵਿਅਕਤੀ ਨੂੰ ਲੱਭਣ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਸਹਾਇਤਾ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਹੈ। ਇਸ ਸ਼ੱਕੀ ਮਰਦ ਦੀ ਉਮਰ ਲਗਭਗ 20 ਤੋਂ 25 ਸਾਲ ਹੈ, ਸਾਊਥ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਹੈ, ਸਾਵਲੇ ਰੰਗ ਦਾ ਹੈ, ਛੋਟੇ ਕਾਲੇ ਵਾਲ ਤੇ ਕਾਲੀ ਦਾੜੀ ਹੈ।
All right. So so that is a sexual assault PSA in Brampton, Ontario, in Canada. And it's done in what Punjabi, is that what it's called? Hindi? I don't even know. But
Oh yeah, they do them all in foreign
here we
language
go.
now.
Do.
Hey,
Okay, and we're
Hey.
joined by our other guest, everybody, the man who needs no introduction, YouTube famous. We got Nerd City in the house. How are you doing, sir?
Well, I don't know about all that. Hey, good to talk to you.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So, when I see this video, here's what I think about. I lived in Vancouver about 10 years ago, and I saw kind of the same thing happening there, where one day you see like, oh, there's a advertisement on the SkyTrain, and it's in Chinese. And then you see more and more and more of that, and this is kind of the same thing. It's sort of culturally jarring, where you're like, oh, the culture actually is being changed. And if you know, they say the term the Great Replacement is this conspiracy theory, it's not real, and it's like, I don't know how much more evidence you need that you're being replaced than all of a sudden your local language is completely foreign.
well they do that shit in the UK as well. I saw them doing it in London last time I was there.
Yeah, probably like Arabic type stuff, or
It's just
What,
Arabic at the
Pakistani?
moment.
yeah. Yep.
Did you guys watch this one already?
Yeah, we
I
watched
just
this
got
one
it.
already. Did you have any
Okay.
thoughts?
Well, this let's see. So this is an Indian woman, right? Because that last name is Kaur. So that's like Sikh, right?
Yeah, there's been like mass Indian immigration to Canada. I saw
Yeah.
I saw a tweet the other day that said like 5 million people in Canada, their visas are expired and they're still there. So it's like, you know, Canada's population is much smaller than the US, so that's like a significant amount of people. And it's funny too, like you see on Reddit, Canadians are starting to get fed up and post about this kind of, and I said, man, if you can make Canadians racist, you're really doing something wrong.
So Canada's used immigration to fix their demographic problem, like their aging demographic, right? Like
Yeah, I mean that's
It's
yes,
the excuse.
and the economy they say it's good for. That's happening a lot of places. That's happening in South Korea now. They're talking about doing it in Japan. I mean, the birth rates are down everywhere, so that is a problem. But I'm not sure this is the best way to resolve it.
I've heard you say before that when you're going on your crusades against porn, That's like a recent thing, right? Like you're yelling at everybody to stop gooning, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've been off the porn for like 5 years, but
Good for you.
and it's just made my life better. So I just am constantly telling people like that shit messes up your brain. It messes up the way you look at women, the way you look at the world, like everything. Like your sense of humor will be coon brained, like every aspect. So I'm big on just don't do it.
Yeah, and especially like growing up with unlimited access to it, I don't think we even know what that's going to do yet. Like that's kind of an experiment. But I heard you say before, whenever you criticize porn, no one can ever offer a reason why it's good. And when I was looking at this video, I was thinking, okay, allow me to offer a possibility.
Okay.
Semi-ironically. Indian rape culture is late stage no fap.
You think so?
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah,
they're watching porn in India, surely.
Are they? Okay,
Yeah,
fucking lizards.
they
I know that
definitely are.
there's a well, I haven't seen. I mean, I don't see it around. Not a whole lot of it, you know. And the stuff that I have seen.
Oh, they're not
it
watching
doesn't seem-
Indian people doing porn. They're just watching whatever's on Pornhub or whatever, you know.
Does Bollywood have the equivalent of like a what do they call it in LA? There's like a valley where all the illicit movies were made. But anyway, beside the point. So what I was thinking is like, it seems like so places where living conditions where men don't have privacy to use the bathroom by themselves for, more than 30 seconds or to, like they're splitting a room. So think about like a bunch of frat boys who are going on spring break and staying in a motel. Like on day 3, they're starting to get like dangerously aggressive, right?
Okay, listen, man. I appreciate the effort. I'm not
wait,
buying this at all.
Okay.
I've heard this excuse a million times. Oh, if I don't goon out, some ugly like evil woman is gonna be able to manipulate me into sex, or I'm gonna get prostate cancer. I mean, I've heard it all, and I just don't buy it. The idea that like you're going to go out and rape because you didn't get to watch porn in the last week. It's total nonsense.
It's kind of it's a semi-satirical theory or whatever. I did ask a guy in our Discord server who's from India what he thought about this. I ran this by him. I'm like, is it a problem of overcrowding where basically like Indian guys are living on top of each other, they're splitting rooms, they don't have any time to themselves, and so they're just like a loaded gun walking around all the time. And he didn't really buy that theory. So it's like not a great theory according to a sample size of one Indian guy. But he said in his view, it has more to do with like young boys not being raised to respect women properly, which, I can't argue with. That seems like that probably has something to do with it. Yeah. But I do see a similarity. Like when you think about like holla culture, holla. It's like, these are guys that don't have a lot of privacy, and they might not be adept at gooning. It's like guys who are splitting a room, whether it's like frat guys on a military base, or people in low income housing, or Indian guys, and so maybe I was just thinking it's something where as they get access to our terrible porn and a little bit more space to stretch out, that maybe they won't be so rapey.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think there is like a selection bias when you're talking about the immigrants, because it takes a certain level of skill and intelligence to be able to immigrate. So people who are immigrants, especially like across seas and stuff like that, they tend to be not necessarily representative of the general population. Like they're probably better on average just because they were able to get out.
Yeah.
But I think you're still going to see, I mean, I've seen posts like I was saying on Reddit, like Canadian women saying, oh, like my school, all of a sudden half the students are Indian and I get sexually harassed walking around now. And I never experienced so I don't think it's totally I just don't buy it at all. I think those people are just horny naturally. I think it's just part of their like genetic makeup to be permanently horny. Because like with like the rape problem over there, it's not even just like women. It's not even just children. It's like goats and like they'll like rape their grandpas and stuff. I mean, it's totally insane. And
I saw a horrible news article where there was like a victim of a gang rape who was giving birth in the hospital, who was then raped by like 6 members of the hospital staff, including the doctors who had helped her. Did you see that? There's like, it sounds like it couldn't
I've
be
seen
true.
similar stories. There was one where like a rape victim was in an ambulance and they threw the husband out of the ambulance so that they could rape her again. I mean, you're telling me some internet hardcore porn videos are gonna fix that problem? I don't buy it. That's like a problem that can't really be fixed, I don't think. But anyway, let's move on to that's a dark topic there to start us off. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, I mean, not much you can say about that one. You got to love the boomers.
That's like the ultimate fear of when you neglect keeping up with technology, that something like that is going to happen. You know, like she probably doesn't have an iPhone. Yeah. She doesn't know what the touch screens are like, you know, because that's not even close. That's not like you fell for an ATM that has a glass screen and you're like, oh, maybe if I press this, like that's a painted matte gray sign.
Yeah, it's also possible she has like dementia, which is very like harsh to think about. Like we're all making fun of a dementia person here, but
or that she's legally blind.
yeah. That's my biggest nightmare, is like having my mental faculties go when I get old.
Yeah, it's when someone's recording you and putting you on TikTok.
Yeah. But this one's in Canada too. This is in Toronto. What is with the tire dragging behind there? That I don't even understand what's going on there.
Yeah, what did he run over? That's kind of frightening.
So I sent you a Reddit thread about this, and I should pull up that link because it was funny. Somebody posted about like this Bell driver hit my car, and the Reddit it was posted on was like r/Canada driving, which you kind of think like, oh, that's like about probably as appropriate of a post as you could have for a Reddit like that. But they mods removed it. They took it down. Not sure why. There was no reason there, but I thought that was kind of funny.
Did you?
We are the North Compton Wildcats. We're black. We know it. We shake our big booties and show it. We ain't white. We ain't white. We definitely ain't white. Break it down, niggas.
Damn, those bitches represent.
Okay, so this is old. This is from a 2001 movie called Not Another Teen Movie, but the clip went viral on Twitter this week, and I actually have like kind of a lot to say about this, but I'll let you guys go first. Maybe you're thinking the same thing I am, or I don't know if you're thinking anything at all, but let me know.
I didn't see that went viral, and I was wondering what got you thinking about this all of a sudden, because I remember this, and that's like, it's just funny because reminds you of when the narrative about the narrative about plagiarism was working in the other direction. So do you remember that? Well, obviously the joke here is that the
black.
The white school has obviously stolen their routine from the more talented black cheerleading squad.
Right.
And then now I've seen, Tatiana McGrath had probably a satirical article, but I've seen real articles like this that basically call plagiarism a conspiracy theory used by racists to attack black women. So like when someone is when a person of color has stolen something in their like academic record or whatever, and you figure that out, that's just like a weapon, or that's like something that has been made up just to attack them, and otherwise no one would be talking about it. But I grew up with everybody joking about how you couldn't really be cool unless you stole something from a black person. So it's like it's worked in the other way.
Right. That kind of ties into what I was going to say. But what about you, Bunjee, though? Do you got any thoughts on this?
You can't be cool unless you steal from the blacks.
Starting with Elvis and
Taste of
Chuck
the
Berry
road type of deal.
Yeah, so when I saw this clip, I was thinking, like, there was a lot of this in the 90s. There was a lot of this, like, black people are cool and white people aren't kind of vibe. You had songs like Pretty Fly for a White Guy by Offspring. And this was just kind of like a common thing during that time. But like when I see this clip, I think, oh, this is actually pretty funny. I'm not angry about it or whatever. I'm just like laughing at it. You got a bunch of white cheerleaders, they're like, we're not white, we're black. And then I think how, like now, 20 years later, in the era of woke, the woke people would think that this is like offensive. Because it's almost like verbal blackface, right? Like blackface is this huge crime. You can't paint your face black but these are just white people being like, we're black. So it's kind of like the verbal version of that, and I feel like that would offend people today, and they would consider this, you can't do this. But that's kind of why they're losing power now, because they've lost their sense of humor and they've lost their sort of ability to just like be they're out of touch, basically. And there's another clip later we're going to see from a TV show that sort of ties into that, like a more modern version of this thing where it's like just super cringe.
Well, they did this a lot in Scary Movie, I seem to remember. There was a lot of these bits in Scary Movie, because there was stuff in Scary Movie 2 as well that was like this.
Yeah. There's like tons of examples all through the 90s and early 2000s of that, and I don't think it was like meant maliciously at all, but I do think it had sort of an unintentional subversive effect that fed into the kind of like white guilt and all that kind of stuff that came a bit later.
Yeah, like no one says the word wigger now. That's considered offensive. Really, the only place you see it is the Sam Hyde screen name.
Right.
But that was something people would toss around, and now that's like, I think that's considered a hard R, even though it's a made up word. Yeah,
it's funny.
Yeah, it's like a time capsule looking at that. That joke wouldn't even make sense now.
Well, it could work, because it's about the contrast between the whites and the blacks. It's weird watching white people do black things inherently. That's like the idea of the joke.
Right.
I think if you had to update it, it'd have to be more like DEI or ESG influenced, where like they have like there's been like non-merit based advancement of actual people of color on the cheerleading squad, and the ones who really wanted to do it, or the seniors, have been kicked off for freshmen from another school who've transferred in just so that they could qualify for the tournament, because they couldn't even be in the tournament if they weren't 50% black or something like that. It's like, it would have to be a completely different joke. The problems are different.
I've seen this.
What a Looney Tunes scene, huh?
Yeah, so this guy breaks out of the interrogation room, just kicks the wall out. Where was this? I gotta find the link.
New Mexico.
Is in Mexico? Yeah.
New Mexico.
New Mexico. Yeah. Okay, that's funny because I had a tweet a while ago about how there was a lot of, before the election, they were saying like, oh, if you deport all these Mexicans, you're gonna actually have more housing problems because they're the ones building the house. And I had this video of like a guy showing how the construction is really shoddy these days. Like the houses are made out of like cardboard, and they're not built the way they used to. And this just makes me think of that.
Yeah, I thought of that too. That's funny. Like gangs that want to break into a building don't like break window or go through the door. Like they can just kick through the wall. But yeah, you watch that and you're kind of like rooting for the guy in like a Looney Tunes way to escape. But he's according to the news article, he's like the heir to a fortune, and he had just killed his entire family.
Oh yeah. I'm pulling the article up real quick here. Okay, so 24, Adlai Mester shot and killed his family, including his mother, father, 17-year-old sister, and even their family dog. Yeesh.
Awful.
Yeah. That's a bad hombre.
Yeah, he killed everybody except one sister, who was like, has he been taking his medication? And like, apparently not. So it's awful. And you wouldn't want that guy to be out of custody, but you can imagine just wanting to get out of a room you don't want to be in, and how fun it would be to do that. But in that particular case, you kind of want to catch him.
I don't give a fuck that they're saying seed oils cause inflammation, and they seem to be the subject of every single post. It used to cost me $200 to buy myself a Smile, 2 OC80s, and a gram of Coke.
Do either of you guys know what an OC80 is? I don't even know what that is.
No.
Anybody in the chat know? He said he needed 2 OC80s and a gram of Coke to buy a Smile, but I don't even know what that is.
Cheers.
No. That's so wild. I have seen the seed oil discourse kicking off with the RFK Jr. nomination, and what I've seen though is like people being like, this is bullshit. Actually, there's no evidence that seed oils are bad for you. Personally, I don't really have a strong opinion on it. I've never tried to go through all the whatever the papers are, but I think what this guy's doing here is unadvisable. I would not advise you drink a big glass of vegetable oil or whatever that is.
It's probably going to have diarrhea. So I saw people taking this at face value. This is like subversive. This is not serious. He's not actually like doing this to own RFK Jr. because on his TikTok, this is like a series where he has like a famous grocery store product. He's in the parking lot of the grocery store. And then he always formats it the same way, where he tells you very specifically and in detail what the potential health hazard is in the product. It's not just like, all these, tree huggers are saying this isn't good for you. Like, he's actually educating you on what ingredient is like really bad for you. And then he then just kind of like, I don't know, I guess de-escalates the alarmism by showing you that he could still eat it. And then also does that thing where he points out like, well, do you do drugs? Have you ever done drugs before? Like, you put things in your body that aren't, pure, which is a good thing to remind people of if they're being too picky or whatever,
Yeah.
So
just because you've done drugs doesn't mean you should do drugs.
Yeah. But you know how sometimes like somebody who will be very high and mighty about what they can or can't have in their diet, but then like later in the party they're trying to get cocaine or something. It's like you're snorting Ajax from the bathtub.
So you think he really drank the oil though? Like that's not like lemonade or something. That's not Kool-Aid.
Does it have the consistency of lemonade?
I don't know. Doesn't this kind of remind you of like of iDubbbz's food reviews? Like back in the day, he's got a little bit of that energy to it, the sloppy,
Interestingly enough, iDubbbz was defending fluoride in water a week or so ago.
Fluoride?
Ah, fuck. Yeah.
They were like complaining because they were saying people's teeth are going to rot now. The fluoride's not in the water.
By the way, people in the chat were saying that OC80 is oxytocin or oxycontin. I think that's what it's called.
Oh, okay. All right, got it.
Yeah.
Hillbilly heroin.
Delicious. Don't be a pussy.
There we go.
Miguel!
Miguel, get over here now!
Call 911, please.
Miguel!
I'm just filming for your guys' sake, that's all. I'm just trying to buy a sandwich. I'm filming.
Put your fucking camera away! This guy's a piece of shit out of me!
Oh,
Get him! Get him! Get him!
Me, man. Don't fucking bite me, fuck. What the fuck are you doing?
He's talking to the dog like
fucking guy, man.
That's exactly what he's like. You're going after the wrong guy. It's like, sir, that's a dog. I don't think he really understands what you're saying.
I'm on Team India in that fight.
Yeah.
That poor dog, like clearly not trained as an attack dog. That lady's out of it.
Yeah.
And it just goes down the aisle and pees too. It squats and pisses in fear. Like,
Fucking boo! Candy's up there, you goose!
That's your dog, man.
Oh man, blue hair is a big warning sign. Oh, they showed them. Shit. Yeah, they don't get paid enough to deal with that. You're right. I'm on Team Indian dudes.
and then they raped her. No, that's one of the, that's one of those that's one of those scenarios where like they don't really feel that at risk that they actually want her to leave. Like they want her to stay and get arrested, so they're kind of like, yeah, come back in, go away, like they're just trying to buy time.
Yeah.
Anti-Semitic. Do you agree that this arrest warrant, as the Israeli government has claimed, is anti-Semitic?
Where one sees untrue allegations being advanced to an illegal, unlawful issuance of arrest warrants against the leaders of the only Jewish state, then this allegation of anti-Semitism ultimately makes its own self out.
Okay. So this is in regards to the ICC, the International Criminal Court, has issued arrest warrants for Netanyahu. Kind of an interesting development because there's a lot of countries that are signed on to like whatever this compact is, where they say, okay, this court has jurisdiction. So like Sweden, for example, is now obligated based off of their agreement to arrest Netanyahu were he to visit Sweden. But something I always find telling about these videos is she said, like, it's the only Jewish state. You can't do that to the leader of the only Jewish state. And it's like, well, isn't it, in a way, isn't every state kind of like unique? Like there's only one British state. There's only one French state. You know what I mean? Like
she makes a terrible bad faith argument here. This is like really awful. He asked a good question here. He's like, basically, is there nothing that Netanyahu could do that is a crime?
Right.
You know, like, what are you trying to say? And then she's like, "Are you putting words in my mouth?" And he's like, "No, I'm asking you like on principle."
It's not possible for Israeli politicians to commit crimes against humanity, regardless of their ethnic and religious origin. They are just politicians
Well, Matt, that's
acting in
certainly not
bad
what I
faith.
said. And I do believe you're now putting words in my
No, I'm
mouth.
not. I'm just wondering. I'm asking as a principle.
Well, as a principle, of course, anyone is capable. But what we have seen here is that these allegations are essentially the modern blood libel. The ancient blood libel accused Jews of killing Christian children for their blood. The modern one accuses Jewish soldiers, Israelis, of killing Palestinian children. They are equally as unfounded. And where a modern
I mean, I've seen
I
some
don't know
videos
about
of
that.
Palestinian
I've seen
children
it.
that would beg to differ.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm saying that with a smile in my voice. I mean, it's horrible. It's like I've seen videos I wish didn't exist and I wish I never saw. And that has nothing to do with whatever the hell happened a long time ago with accusations of blood libel. Like, this is about what's happening, and there's a lot of video proof of it, you know. So for her to bring that up and say basically that if you attribute the death of a child to someone Jewish, you're referencing basically like a taboo thing and you're not allowed to do that, and that on its face is anti-Semitism, so you don't have to take it seriously. Like, that's an insane argument. She should be embarrassed to say that.
I mean, it's just especially strange when we like the evidence that many children have died is kind of overwhelming. Like, it's like undeniable. So I don't know, like, who do you think you're fooling here? Bunjee, what do you think about all this?
Well, let me tell you, Jews, they rule, you know, they're pretty cool.
With Jews, you win.
I can't say nothing bad about them.
That was like a 20% Trump impression. Just go full Trump.
blood libel forms the basis of arrest warrants against Jewish leaders. And this is, of course, at the expense of real situations of war crimes that the court has refrained from investigating. Then yes, the overriding impression is that, and this is the court as a whole that has been called anti-Semitic on that basis, is that that must be the reasoning and the motivation in order for this court to seek to rehabilitate itself in the public arena. But it has fundamentally been made on the basis by 3 judges who have been entirely misled by this false information in front of them.
False information. I don't think anything's actually going to come out of those warrants. It's all just whatever. It's all just virtue signaling.
Might get the judges killed.
yeah, that's probably the most likely outcome, or at least like removed from their posts.
Yeah, because Putin, Russia's got an arrest warrant against the judges who. They basically, Russia did a reverse Uno on the criminal court because they did the same thing to Putin, and he's just like, no, the judges are going to be arrested if you ever come anywhere near an airport that we have a say over.
Good morning. I took yesterday to be angry and miserable, and I also took yesterday to make the decision to block my father, who will still end up seeing this. So, hi, Dad. And yes, I did block him because of who he voted for. Because he knows that I am trans, and he knows that I have had 2 abortions, and he still voted for Project 2025, which to me is reprehensible.
He got arrested.
I have my husband who loves and supports me to the ends of the earth. I have my friends who love and support me to the ends of...
There's a lot going on here. So trans, 2 abortions, husband.
It should have started with, well, she's in a car, so she couldn't do it, but like flipping the seat around like that fella did against Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, this is, I've said before that like trans men, meaning women who transition to being men, they tend to be a lot better at passing than trans women because the testosterone is such a powerful drug. But this is one of the weakest ones I've seen. I don't know if she just started or what. Sorry, go ahead, Bunjee.
There's been like tons of movies about women passing as men, like Mulan, for example. I think women are just better at it.
Yeah, they're just better at it. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I'm just thinking. Okay, so she has a husband. So, and she identifies as a man. So that means they're gay. They're two gay men, but they're probably having, intervaginal intercourse if it's resulting in pregnancies that need abortion. It's you just need you need a whole chalkboard to chart this out and make sense of it.
The earth. And I have other family members who love and support me to the ends of the earth. And I genuinely do not need anyone else. I realize this is something not everyone is able to do safely. And I'm very grateful for my ability to do that safely.
What do you guys think about libs blocking their family and refusing to? There's been a lot of videos about how you're not coming to my Thanksgiving, or I'm not going to your Thanksgiving, or whatever. And it seems to be a very partisan thing. You don't see this from right or Trump voters or whoever.
Right. Well, as far as charting it out on a chalkboard, the simple thing to do is just write narcissism on the board, because that's what I see in this is, because she says she proudly says that she blocked her mother till the day she died and she doesn't need anybody or whatever. So what she's really trying to do is control something that's not within her control. And she's angry that people didn't do what she wanted, So she's just, this is narcissistic rage against, someone who wasn't, complying with her demands or his.
It goes without saying too, but those glasses are something else. Whoa, those are some big lenses.
Also, it's when you hear these things safe, harm and safe are these words that have been co-opted, and I think a lot of it had to do with trying to take control of social media several years ago, where the red line that these social media companies would draw was is there a risk of immediate harm, a credible risk to harm? Is this making someone unsafe or whatever? And so we just started seeing more and more things start to qualify as what is creating an unsafe environment. And then the end result is, if you are at risk of having your day ruined by being reminded of something that you're trying not to think about, you are not safe.
Right.
Right. So it's basically a delusion is being popped in. You potentially could be embarrassed by remembering that you're not passing or something, being misgendered, something like that. So that's considered not safe. But look, if you actually are worried about, if you're minding your own business and you are suffering from delusions, you're suffering from dysphoria. If you're trying to avoid somebody making you feel unsafe, which is people dead naming you, reminding you, whatever, posting a video like this is drawing attention. You're picking a fight. Whereas if you just kind of didn't do this and didn't declare yourself unsafe, and how your whole life is ruined and your family has to be completely discommunicated or whatever, excommunicated from you, then I don't know, nothing, you're not going to have any problems really. This is a lot of slapping themselves in the face and saying that everything went bad.
Right. Do you think that there is more narcissism now because of social media, or do you think that social media just lets us see the narcissists much easier than before?
Yeah, both, because it everybody is so I've done a huge deep dive into narcissism for just trying to understand the subject of my last two videos, and I was aware of NPD, and I had an idea of what narcissism
Sniper
was.
Wolf, right? For anybody who doesn't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was at a loss to explain how someone could be stealing from someone who they hated, and then somehow was able to construct a reality where in their mind it was justified and the person was stealing from them. It was such a mind fuck. I couldn't understand it exactly, but I'd seen it also in J Station, where he was stealing from people. He was stealing from his competitors and then preemptively accusing them of stealing from him. But the evidence was right there that like they made the video first, and anyone who looked it up could see, who really was at fault. But he was able to kind of like create this narrative where maybe 80% of the people who watched both videos thought that he was right. And it's a crazy risk to take. It's like you've committed a crime and then you tell on yourself preemptively as a way to get out of what you just did. It's not a great strategy, but it's something that both J Station did and Sniper Wolf did. And I was trying to understand it. And it took me into, well, honestly, like it came from the comments. There were like 180 people who wrote in the comments, like, nerd, I think you got this, you haven't figured this out yet. This is NPD. This is how people with NPD act. And so as I started to look into narcissism more, I kind of like found this whole subgenre now of people explaining narcissism, like basically its rise on social media and how to navigate people who, are high in trait narcissism. And the thing is, like, the more I got into it and sort of found like the thought leaders on this, going through NPD doesn't make as much sense as talking about narcissism as a personality style rather than as a disorder, because the percentage of people who exhibit the trait of narcissism enough that it like disrupts their work life or their family or their relationship is like, in entertainment, it's like half the people. It might even be 20% of people will sometimes, behave narcissistically in a way that causes problems in their life. So at that point, it's not a disorder. It's just part of the human condition. So it's like stubbornness or something, an observation you can make about a pattern of behavior that anyone can do at any time, right? But the thing about social media is the algorithms are rewarding your narcissistic behavior. So someone who might occasionally be subject to it, they get basically the carrot for the narcissism and the stick for the humility,
Right.
So it's like it trains you to be more narcissistic. And then also, if you're looking at how can I succeed and like get the most out of this and promote my business or whatever it is online, you look at who is dominating these platforms, and it's the most comically narcissistic people in human history, right? It's like people who stream themselves showering and
the
taking
Jake
a shit
Pauls
at
of the
gym.
world. Yeah.
It's like these are things that would be like inconceivable in the past.
Yeah, man, it's it's almost hard for me to hear you say that just because it's something like I think about a lot. I don't know if you know Roosh V. He was like a pickup artist.
Right?
Yeah, a big pickup artist, wrote all these books, and then he found God and he basically left the internet to just go be like pious or whatever. And I think about that a lot because I just kind of think like there's part of me that knows that that's correct, but I don't want to do it. And so I just try not to think about it too much. So like what I'm doing by being out here and trying to be bombastic and do whatever to get views in that. Yeah.
Hey man, I'll say like this has been the hardest video series I think I've ever worked on because of the amount of like self-reflection it's made me do. I think everybody who's doing what we're doing, almost everybody, has to basically flip a switch to act somewhat narcissistically in order to just, hold attention and be on a mic and act like you belong. You have to be able to behave in a way that not everybody can do if they don't, sort of have access to that trait a little. So it's a spectrum thing. It's not everybody who behaves that way has the disorder or it's going to disrupt their life. Like there's a healthy amount of narcissism. If you are getting feedback from the world that you're good at something and you develop a confidence in that being the case, that's not incorrect. Like there's nothing wrong in your mind. You're getting feedback from the world that, people like it when you talk or when you play music or you paint or something. And so for you to then say, I can do that. I could win this contest. Let me enter or something like that. You're not being, you're not being out of pocket to do that.
Right.
But then there's unhealthy narcissistic thinking, and that kind of thing is where you feel like you're a sore loser, or you feel entitled to something that you didn't deserve. Like you didn't win the contest, and you can't congratulate the winners. You're like, this was unfair. I'm clearly the best. I'm going to do a smear campaign. I'm going to say that the judges were corrupt, and I'm going to make everybody like reevaluate this art and tell me I did the best. It's like, then that would be acting narcissistic in an unhealthy way.
The Kanye West approach.
Sure. And Trump, it's like Bunjee and I both kind of appreciate Trump as a very humorous figure. But, when he was fixated on the size of the inauguration crowd, that was him not wanting to concede that more people showed up for Obama. So it's like he just kept bringing it up because that was bugging him. He wanted to be the best. Like he couldn't just be doing very well and be the president. In his mind, it's like he had to find a way to reframe it that he was number one, Yeah. And the thing is, and people who have NPD, even like who have the disorder, are more likely to be CEOs, to do really well on dating sites, that kind of thing. It's like it's something. It's that level of confidence and self-assuredness and willingness to be the one in charge is something that we want someone who wants to do it, So if somebody's like, I'll be the president, and it seems like they're the right. It seems like seems like that would be a refreshing change. And hey, he wants to do it. It's like people will vote for a guy. I think even Trump fans know that Trump is narcissistic, right?
Sure.
So it's like, it's not undermining him to point it out. It's actually something that people can just kind of like, you filter what he says through the way that that he is,
I got to tell you, all I heard through all of that was you telling me that I have the healthy narcissism, and so I have nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
I cut my mother off until the
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was wrapping it up. That's fine.
day she died. And I can and will do that again.
You cannot get a DUI on a horse in the state of North Carolina. Look it up. Now, I can get a DUI when I do my buggy, but I cannot get a DUI on a horse.
That's the kind of guy I want to be. Like when I'm old, I just want to be like.
What makes
LP
the video so
usually
good is you
document,
can
like,
tell
society.
he's smashed, right? Like you can tell he's just absolutely loaded, and it just makes the video that much better.
But you get to a point in your old age where there's like no consequence. You know what I mean?
I know. I think about that all the time because, like, I like Curb Your Enthusiasm, right? And I always find myself in these social situations where I'm like, I want to do the Larry David thing, but I'm too self-conscious or whatever to like make
there's like
a scene.
consequence like when you're young, but when you hit like a certain age, there's no consequence because it's like your retirement age is, you know, not that far off, or you're going to be dead within like 5 years. It's like after you ever seen the show Afterlife?
I haven't. No.
The whole concept of Afterlife is that Ricky Gervais has made like a pact.
Oh,
that he's
you know what? I did
by the
see
end of the
season
year.
1. Yeah, I did see season 1 of that show. Sorry, go ahead.
So he just does like whatever he wants for a whole year because if it goes badly for him, he'll just kill himself and that's it.
Right.
That's what it's like being an old person.
Sweet. So something to look forward to, everybody.
Because you could just die like in 5 years' time. So it doesn't matter what you do. You know, you can be as belligerent as you want. It's over for you now. Your life is finished. There's no more life.
Take a horse through a Taco Bell drive-through.
Yeah.
Look it up. Now, I can get a DUI when I do my buggy, but I cannot get a DUI on a horse.
I was watching this YouTube.
Are you trying to impress a girl with this Israel thing? It's so baffling to me.
Oh, I love this.
It's crazy.
We can hammer it out in person, okay?
I don't know anyone that isn't like my parents' generation of Jews that goes hard on that.
We'll talk about it in person. We want to save the content for the good faith, not a goof show, right?
It's bizarre, actually. That's your thing? I didn't even know that was your thing. Is that why you and Hassan beef?
Well, I have
Hamas.
other things
People
too.
say he's Hamas now.
Yeah, he is absolutely, but that's
He's
not all. I'm
100% Hamas.
he's like 95% Hamas, I would say.
Oh my word! Oh my word!
Get off that for a sec. So you got Adam Friedland there of Cumtown fame and Destiny, and I guess they're setting up a friendly debate they're gonna do, and Friedland is saying like, why do you go so hard on the Destiny or on the Israel thing? I only know like old Jews who do that.
Yeah, that full clip, I saw him where Destiny was like, he was doing this thing where he says sort of like edgy, things that aren't true. Like he'll be saying, calling himself a Nazi, that kind of thing. Like he has a lot of like, I don't know, satirical jokes or whatever that he makes. Yeah. And it wasn't landing with Adam, or like Adam was putting on the like just icing him out and making it seem like he was bombing. It was really funny.
Yeah, I did like a review of the whole thing on my for my like locals members, and I said like I can't tell who's like out ironying who in this conversation. It's like we're on such like multiple layers that I'm not even sure who's like serious and who's doing a bit or what.
Yeah. What's crazy is that Adam has like basically was hiding this talent all this time, because like during the golden era of Cumtown, Adam was the one being picked on by Stav and Nick, and it kind of seemed like he was the hanger-on, the least talented of everybody. Like he really was under their thumb in a way. But then he's kind of blossomed to be this like talent in the past few years. He really is pretty good at this kind of thing.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the actual full interview that they do.
That's not all.
100% Hamas.
He's like 95% Hamas, I would say.
Oh my word! Oh my word!
Last night really sucked. I just want to check in and ask how you're doing today. And I also want to ask, what are you doing to take care of yourself today? I think, with the news, we all are feeling pretty down. I certainly am. And I just hope you're doing okay. Okay enough, considering. It's also okay to not be okay today. Remember that. Take care of yourself.
All right, to come back to narcissism, this is a huge, so like once you start getting into, when you start to understand how that harmful way of thinking works, you'll start spotting like a type of language that's built to work around people's narcissism. And this guy is using all sorts of language that does. This is how you talk to a narcissistic person. You avoid ever making them feel shame or blame. So like this could be someone with NPD or BPD, people who perceive insults that aren't there, or who can't process a negative thought. Like the beginning of a negative thought, a little bit of shame starts to bubble up, and then they get very mad. When you're talking to someone like that, that's when you would say things like, now look, I know this isn't your fault, and it was perfectly rational for you to do, but so basically, like, what does he say there? He's like, you should be okay today, but also it's okay if you aren't okay. You need to take care of yourself. Like there's all of this language is so selfish, so self-centered. It's not like, take care of yourself and your loved ones, check in on everybody, make sure they're okay. He's like, treat yourself, take care of yourself, do whatever you want today. I hope you're getting over it, but also you're right if you haven't. Anyway, that's it. And then obviously the visual there is the guy's delusional about this being like something that he should record from that angle and without a shirt on.
He's a troll. He's a troll.
Yeah. Is he a troll?
He's a troll. Look at his glasses. No one would wear those unironically. That's a troll.
I would feel better if this is a parody.
I mean,
please tell me if it is.
He's got nipple rings and like a nose ring too. I don't think that's a troll. I think that's just a fat gay man.
Nah, I think it's a troll. He's like putting on a bit. Like, why would you take your shirt off for it? It doesn't make any sense.
He's a bear.
Think about the mentality of a guy who takes his shirt off to record a video soothing Harris voters. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make
Low
any sense.
angle.
No one would do it.
Yeah, maybe he thinks he's really good looking.
Nah, man.
This is like this is the body. What was the movement? Body positivity result. You know, you've got someone who doesn't see a problem with this and thinks that if you see a problem with that, it's your problem. That's what I would guess, but I would feel better if this guy was just a comedian.
Yeah, I'm going with sincere and kind of groomery. You see a lot of these TikToks videos where it's like you're okay, like you don't need your family if you don't like them. I'll be your family now. That's kind of how it comes across to me.
If you want to skip school, come over to my house. We'll watch some movies in a sleeping bag.
It's because you can then misuse words like oppression. There has been no oppression for the white man in this country. You tell me which white men were dragged out of their homes. You tell me which one of them got dragged all the way across an ocean and told that you are going to go and work. We are going to steal your wives. We are going to rape your wives. That didn't happen. That is oppression.
They didn't have
We didn't
wives.
ask to be here. We not the same migrants that y'all constantly come up against. We didn't run away from home. We were stolen.
What's the response? Oh, okay. Is there not a response to that?
No, not in this clip. No.
Damn.
What do you think here, Bunjee?
Well, let's talk about the elephant in the room. The hair. What's going on there? Look at the pullback on that. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, she's got some wild hair. I just think like
like an intentional choice.
The hair,
like just the fringe specifically, like the hairline.
I mean,
like it's pulled back. It's pulled back so far, but it's cut in like spikes going backwards.
Yeah, you're getting kind of into racist territory here. You know, you're not allowed to say that. You're not allowed to be like, oh, your hair looks nappy or whatever.
Oh.
No, I'm gonna stick to the wigs when I make fun of a black woman's hair. I'm not making fun of their natural hair. I don't know anything about that.
I'm just joking on you. That's what my 3-year-old son, he says it all. I'm just joking on you. So I've started saying it now. So these people, first of all, were not ever enslaved, obviously. So the whole oppression that she's clinging to is her ancestors. And that's...
Well, we don't even know if it's her ancestors.
Exactly. I was going to say, even that is very ostensible because
I've seen a bunch of videos of them doing ancestry tests and they're all European.
Right, exactly. And I think the majority of blacks in America now are not... like immigrated after slavery, like that. There's this weird thing, we have a lot of immigration from Africa and places like that over the last 100 years, but they all want to claim that they were slaves and we owe them reparations, or maybe not all of them, but people like her want to claim that.
I try not to get mad about stuff like this because it's easy to feel sort of insulted and, personally targeted by it because she's mentioning, traits that are associated with me. But I try not to get mad at someone like this because it's basically she's doing what's rational and what she's been rewarded for doing so far in her life, which is to call attention to this kind of thing, to buy into the narrative, to be very insistent about it. That's only going to get you rewarded with the way that things are set up. So it's if the system is set up that's how you play the game, it's like she's just playing the game. I have a problem with the game. It's I'm angry at if I'm going to be angry at anything, I would direct that towards a system like ESG that is outcome oriented and where it's causing all kinds of potential unintended consequences along the way as it remakes reality to fit to an ideal that we never all were persuaded about or agreed to. It's just how things are working now. So I'm a little more concerned with with the systemic racism against white guys at the moment, and that's part of ESG. You know, I don't really even think about things like, you know, replacement theory and stuff like that, because you don't even need to worry about that. You just look at ESG. ESG requires that in order for the CEOs to get their bonus next year, to get like a large percentage of their compensation, they have to show improvement in ESG. That's one of basically the boxes ticked on the corporate sustainability reports, or their yearly ESG reports, is executive pay tied to ESG score? And if yes, that raises your ESG score. So that's, you have even the executive class is captured in a way where, you know, they're acting rationally to increase their ESG score, or they don't make their full salary. So then it's kind of like this top-down system that is shaping everything from commercials to hiring practices to you know, the product that they're making, and to the demographic that they're targeting, to the vendors that they hire. Just literally every transaction, things that in public and the private sector, is affected by ESG. And ESG, if you like, I've read reports from, I've read the annual reports of large companies like Netflix, 120-page report, and what they're trying to document for the auditors is that they're showing every year more representation of marginalized groups, and everybody's marginalized except for white guys. You know,
Right.
White guys were overrepresented in the view of this score. So every year you have to show that, well, you know, we've increased female representation, we've increased handicapped representation, we've increased Native American representation, we've increased everything by 1%, 2%. Every year it's going up, all of the things except for white guys in any of those categories. So it's like that's the system, that's the actual racism. So like that, I focus my attention more on that, and not on someone like this or the actress who was in Star Wars and who said like super offensive things about like, oh, I'm trying to trigger Star Wars fans and she's very hostile. It's like, look, that probably got her the job. You know, like that
Right.
that kind of shit. It's like we were talking about the carrot and the stick earlier. The hand is being offered out to lift up someone who does things like that. Like the kid who got into Ivy League school by writing his application essay was just Black Lives Matter for 20 pages or whatever. It's like, if that gets you in, it's like, hey, he fucking, you know, he glitched out the game and speed ran it into Ivy League. Be mad at
a white guy or a black guy?
Oh, obviously a black guy. Yeah. So like,
if a white guy did it, would he have won?
Good question.
Do you think this stuff is winding down, the ESG? Because I've seen like some stories of how they're reducing DEI programs. Like I think Walmart was one of the companies where they're like, we're not going to do this anymore. You say no, Bunjee?
It's not going to wind down in like creative spaces. Corporate spaces it may do, just because it's based on profit. Right. But a place like Hollywood, it's obviously not going to wind down. In the gaming industry, it probably won't wind down. Any kind of like creative enterprise, like that's not like, you know, Walmart or supermarkets or profit-based industry.
I'm curious about how legitimate the winding down is, because I have seen some pushback against it recently from like, there've been a couple like car manufacturers, a couple of heads of companies have said, hey, look, we've reached our goal and we're closing our DEI department, or we're not going to worry about ESG anymore or whatever. And I've seen Larry Fink say that they're deprioritizing ESG, but I think it's just, I don't believe that this system is ever going to go away. It's too effective of a way at controlling all of reality. I think it's just trying to be get back under the radar or whatever. It was something I was paying attention
what
to.
is the benefit of it even? Like who other than the people who are getting jobs because of like basically the affirmative action aspect, who is pushing these policies, the people pushing these policies, the BlackRocks of the world, how do they benefit from it? I don't know, because it seems to make the companies worse. Like you see all this stuff going on with Boeing and that.
BlackRock doesn't care about making money because they've already got so much, right?
Yeah.
Like it sounds bizarre to a normal person, but BlackRock, things like BlackRock want to push the prices up because they know that no one else has the money to buy stuff when it's pushed that high up. That's why they try and push up prices.
So why do they do this though? Is it just like, is this just actually like their idea of benevolence? Like they think what they're doing is a good thing, or?
No, I think this is, I think it's sociopathic rich people having a endless, timeless debate with psychopathic rich people about do we let up the boot off their neck a little bit this year, or do we squeeze them even harder? So it's really about a moat around how do we make sure that there isn't a civil unrest where they get so angry that they take our money and they take our houses and the society collapses. And there are these flare-ups where all of a sudden you see a massive initiative for equity, and that's basically to appease what they think is an angry part of the population. You basically start to see racist policies that are meant to benefit a particular group who, an argument is made, have been unfairly impacted by the previous years, right? So I think that's just, it's kind of what's decided on for reducing civil unrest and to increase basically like harmony in the culture or whatever. But I'm not sure it's a good fucking idea is the thing, like, because a lot of times these ESG policies, like, they end up creating disasters. It's too big of a thing. It's like too many variables and X factors and things that you can't, like, unintended consequences when you start messing with markets like that. You know, when you start basically putting your thumb on the scale and picking winners or losers that aren't based off of how much the consumers of those products actually appreciate that or wanted that. You know, it's like if you are sort of forcing something and subsidizing it to continue to be, the only option or the dominant option, then you've perverted these forces that otherwise could surface a winner normally, So you end up with all kinds of weird things that don't make sense, or you end up like with farmers that can't afford to plant their crops because they're not allowed to use nitrogen fertilizer or something. It's like weird shit starts to happen where people could potentially starve, or, where you make everybody even angrier because you've set up a system where like masculine, like testosterone infused brands are now reaching out to, using trans influencers for advertising campaigns, and there's a major backlash, and all of a sudden everybody's paying attention to it. Or like gamers now are aware of this because of Sweet Baby Inc., which was like a consulting firm that helped video game companies comply with ESG and get funding. And gamers are aware and don't like it that they're not getting the product that they've been asking for, that increasingly there are less characters that resonate with them, the buyer, or it seems like things are being included that are a virtue signal. It's not a virtue signal. The system might be a virtue signal, but it's like the rational thing for the game company to do to, have a game creation screen that increases representation potentially within the game or whatever. It's like something that can make somebody very angry because this isn't how I remembered it or whatever. It's like, I feel like people get lost in the sauce of the daily outrage that this system creates. And that's going to keep coming. It's like an assembly line. So there are outrage merchants, and I don't think you're one of them, LP, but there are people who I think kind of come up on the answer to this. They come up on ESG and how this is working, and then they kind of back off because they go, oh, wait, if I explain that, then people aren't going to be as angry tomorrow when I show them the remake of Scooby-Doo that doesn't have white people in it or whatever. You know, it's like, if you keep everybody confused about why is this happening? This isn't what I wanted. You know, like, then that's a daily, you know, you kind of keep a steady customer of a confused, annoyed person who's having their memories ruined by this, these financial incentives. Yeah. And I think if you explained ESG to them, then they wouldn't be so mad at the people who defend it. I don't think that necessarily is a reason to not be mad, though. Just because you understand why everything is getting worse doesn't really seem to me like a reason to not be still upset about it. But basically, to summarize all that, we have elite sociopaths fighting the elite. What was the other one? Psychopaths. And we need the schizophrenics to like rise up and overthrow the system. Yeah, thanks for letting me cook there. So that's explaining something like that in one big fire hose being turned on is why, you know, some people will say like, oh my God, nerd's lost his mind. But, you know, like I'm a pattern recognizer, which is a dangerous thing. You know, but you see that in the videos I've always made is I can consume a lot of content and then I can tell you like, oh look, here's 30 times that he said this one thing and I make a montage out of it. Like I can apply that same kind of thing to cultural outrage, you know, and I start to trace it back to where it originates from. And yeah, I try not to get mad about Star Wars being ruined because, man, there's so many awful things happening like that. I don't like that, you know, but I've got to prioritize what I put my energy into, and I can't get mad about like Disney shitting the bed. I wish that wasn't happening, but I think people just kind of get stuck on the end crumbs, you know. Yeah,
I say that all the time. Like yeah, just like basically just don't watch it, but don't really like put all your time and focus on like we gotta save Star Wars or whatever it is. Like there's bigger fish to fry. I agree completely.
Yeah, and you run into people who defend it because they think it's a good thing, you know, like they're benefiting from the system, or they see that it's the high status thing to defend it, and so they will, you know, white knight for it, and so you end up having a fight with someone who their incentives are like really built into the system too, you know, like they want these type of jobs to continue because they're hoping to get one of them because they feel like they qualify for, you know, being a marginalized group, or they think that if they play along with it and say this is good and say things that kind of sound like they're betraying their own interests, that they'll somehow get a greater reward out of that. So you're fighting people who are like the foot soldiers of this war. But if you just kind of like look up at who the generals are and try to figure out what their battle plan is, like it kind of makes a little bit more sense than the maddening results of their strategy.
Yeah. All right, we got to keep moving or we're going to be here all day or we're just not going to have time to finish. So let's just...
Sorry about that.
That's all good.
So yeah, we are going to sit here and be offended when you want to sit here and act like... And don't let it escape you.
I mean, not to belabor the point, but you said don't be mad about this, and I get what you meant by that, but I'm mad just that this is a congresswoman and she's acting this way. You know, I want my politicians to be a little more dignified, I guess you could say.
Well, okay, like I like parliamentary hijinks and stuff. Okay, so like, do you remember Anthony Weiner?
Yeah.
Like, that guy turned out to be a piece of shit, but he was fun. When he was like, the gentleman will sit. The gentleman is correct in sitting. Like, I love that, especially if they're using the parliamentary language. That shit can be fun.
Yeah.
That it is white men on this side of the aisle telling us, people of color on this side of the aisle, that y'all are the ones being oppressed. That y'all are the ones that are being harmed.
Don't blame the vote.
Oh, here he is.
Yeah.
Oh my God, two of the big guys.
Which ones? Cenk and
Harry Sisson or whatever his name.
Oh, Harry Sisson, yeah.
God,
voters,
Harry's
I think.
Did anyone watch the Dean Withers Nick Fuentes debate?
I saw clips of it. I didn't watch the whole thing. Yeah.
My God, I think like
that's
Nick,
the one where
Nick lost that, but like he lost the debate, but I feel like he won. You know, he technically lost the debate, but he won in spirit because Dean Withers is such like a unlikable, uncharismatic creature.
he fell for the bait of arguing whether women are funny or not, right? Was that the one we're talking about? Same one?
I don't remember.
Is Dean Withers is the kid who did like a 40-on-1 MAGA women all argue with him? Was that him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The main part of the debate, though, is when they were talking about gays. I don't want to get sidetracked, but they were talking about gays. And then Nick Fuentes asks him if he's gay, and he denies it. And then Nick Fuentes says, like, and then Dean Withers says, I can put myself in the shoes of a gay person. And then Nick Fuentes is like, you put yourself in the shoes of gay people? You like imagine what it's like? And then Dean Withers makes the terrible mistake of responding, no, I can put myself on the receiving end. And Nick Fuentes just jumps on that immediately.
Yeah, that was one of the clips I saw.
That is devastating. I would never show my face after that.
Look, we could get into this discussion, but one, I think you're blaming the voters. I think that's a terrible idea. Look, I debated Professor Lichtman before. I told him his theories about the keys were absurd. I was right. He was wrong. I said he'd lose his keys.
No, you were
Couldn't
not
find
right,
him before
and
the
I was
election.
not wrong.
You know what?
That's a cheap shot, and I won't stand for
I
it.
don't agree
Who won, brother?
But I like respect Cenk Uygur because he's like Alex Jones. He's like the left version of Alex
It's an
Jones.
institution.
Yeah.
LP, what do you think about Young Turk's redemption arc?
I mean, I think Anna is on somewhat of a redemption arc, but I'll take what I can get, I guess, but it's not really that impressive to me. But I think she might be pulling Cenk a little bit more towards the center too. So again, I'll take the small W's if that's what we got.
He's just so like affable sometimes, when he's like, brother, you got it wrong or whatever. Like he's got it factor. You kind of like listening to him, Yeah. And dude, what's going on with his eyes in this clip? Like, is he fucking drunk? He always seems like he's on like 3 glasses of wine.
Could be.
Not be taking cheap shots at me.
Who won?
You make your
You
point,
live
make your
in
point.
a total
Don't make it
world of
personal.
denial.
I read your own followers' comments, and they all trashed you, every one of them, and supported me.
Yeah,
so
right,
it with
right.
your personal
Yeah,
attacks.
come find out again.
Make whatever point you want.
Yeah.
Don't make it personal.
You don't know anything. You don't know anything.
You attacked me personally.
You're so deluded.
Oh, right. I've only been a professor for 51 years.
On this program, I've never been able to finish a thought.
How many books have you published? No, because you're personally attacking me again. Say whatever.
How many books have you published? It's funny how like immature and childish this is to see this between two like supposed intellectuals. A university professor. He's like, "How many books have you written?"
They have to, because Alex Jones, he took the world by storm.
Yeah,
and now they're all trying to replicate Alex Jones.
It's Alex Jones' world. We're all just living in it.
Yeah.
Whatever you want, but I'm not going to stand for
brother,
personal
you got it wrong.
Say
You were
whatever you want.
preposterously and stupidly wrong. So, okay, all right. Can I just
Don't
finish
call
a
me
goddamn
stupid.
thought ever on this show?
No, not if you're
Okay,
personally.
well,
I
you
admitted
proved it.
I was wrong. I don't need you to call me stupid.
Okay.
Can I just say, it's
What kind
great
of
to see
nonsense
you
is that?
Democrats
Yeah, I
all
know.
getting
Who
along
taught
so
you
well.
manners?
It's lovely to
You
see a
need one.
post-election
Finish your
harmony as you all
goddamn
come
point.
together
We're
again.
just
one
Alan,
right now.
shh.
Oh.
Hey, Alan, you deserve a tall glass of shut-up juice, so can you just shut up for a second and let someone who knows what they're
Not if
doing
you're
so
gonna
right
personally
here.
attack
You're
me.
so right.
So-
We're so
Make any
unified right
point
now.
you want.
So-
I will not sit here and stand for personal attacks, for blasphemy against me. You don't need to do that.
Blasphemy
You don't
against
blaspheme
Blasphemy against you? What the hell are you? Are you
like that.
Jesus
Just
Christ,
make
you
your points.
loser? Okay, can I
points.
just give the correct answer for once?
Yeah, that was wild
Cenk Uygur,
blasphemy.
it's like, has you seen the clip of Cenk Uygur? I don't even remember the context, but all I remember is him just screaming like rapist at someone. Like he was just screaming the word rapist into someone's face.
I don't remember that one. The one that always comes to mind for me is where he's like, "We talk about Saudi Arabia all the time." When it, I think like Alex, it was actually Alex Jones confronted him at something, and Alex Jones was like, "How come you don't talk about Saudi Arabia?" And Shake's like, "We talk about Saudi Arabia all the time."
They should have a fight.
They
Alex
should.
Jones and Cenk Uygur, that would be like a great fight.
Yeah,
It
Cenk
almost
and
happened.
Lichtman should fight too. I'd have Cenk on that one, but I probably would have Jones.
Yeah, Alex Jones.
Yeah.
I accidentally went on a date with a Trump supporter on Saturday, and normally I would say it's unethical to pleasure a Republican, but it got me thinking that we should really be going on more dates with Republicans to waste their money, and because they seem really lonely.
Well, what are you going to say about that one, eh?
Is
Some
it
kind
a
of, like,
waste of money if she pleasured you? I guess would be the not to get too coon brained here, but that was an interesting choice of word. She's like, usually I wouldn't pleasure a Republican, and then she says, well, waste their time.
Does she mean pleasures in like sexual pleasures? Does she mean pleasure in like the pleasure of being with me on a date?
Yeah, you're probably right. I'm probably just reading, my lingering porn from the 5 years ago, still giving me the wrong interpretation. I will say this, like the first time I saw this clip and she was like, "We should go on dates with Republicans." This is a testament to how low I think of the left and how depraved I think of them. When she said that, I thought to myself, she's about to say, we should sleep with them and get pregnant. And then and then they're going to want abortions at that point, and so they'll see it.
Don't give
from
her
our
any
side.
ideas.
And she was just like, "We should waste our time," and I was like, "Oh, that was so much less bad than I thought it was going to be."
Unethical to pleasure a Republican, but it got me thinking that we should really be going on more dates with Republicans to waste their money, and because they seem really lonely.
I mean, look, in my defense, when you say pleasure a person, does that not just have a sexual tone to it?
Yeah, I get what you mean, but
yeah,
like waste the money. Like it doesn't make any. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense if they view sex as like transactional.
When I watch that video, I can't help but scrunch up my face the way she was. Like, don't record a video staring into the sun like that. Yeah. I'm like subconsciously mimicking that face, like furrowing my brow.
Going on more dates with Republicans to waste their money, and because they seem really lonely.
They're so fucking rude. Everyone is so fucking rude. I hate it. Okay? Not a single word. The whole interaction. And they didn't even give you your chips. They had 3 things to put in the bag. I just cut in front of that guy.
I hate everyone but the kid in this video. I'm on team kid.
Yeah, people had strong opinions about this one. Either this woman is a total piece of shit who is like rude to the service workers who are just trying to make a living, or she's absolutely right and the service sucks and you should be angry about that.
It's like
The
a
recording
falling
she
down
gets
scenario.
of the recording she gets of the employee is like not good. But they're like, "What happened?" Like that's not how they were trained to answer that.
Yeah, he just like shoves the bag of food at her, doesn't say anything. And
But then how old is that kid in the back seat? Like, you're saying all this stuff in front of him. You're acting like a monster like this and swearing about.
Yeah, no, I
his shit.
definitely can't support that. I definitely don't sign off on swearing in front of your young children.
And then you're recording yourself doing it because the whole thing's a performance, and the kid is seeing that. It's like, this is such an awful example that kids are growing up with.
Yeah. You know what? You've convinced me. Fuck this bitch.
Yeah, can you imagine like I don't know, some fucking pre-social media, the kind of like dads we would, your friend's dad who might have had an anger problem, you would kind of see some crazy shit like this. Can you imagine if they had like set up a camcorder on the dash and were recording themselves being like this? Like
No,
what
it's
a
crazy.
different
That's another thing I think
scenario.
about, because like I'm on my phone a lot. And people say you shouldn't do that around their kids, your kids. And I think about that because, like, what kind of impression are you making just like staring into your phone, you know? Anyway, gonna keep pushing here.
Yep. Okay, sure. Okay, yep. Say that I was supposed to stop at the box. That next time they forget my shit, I should stop at the box. Because there's going to be a next time. The talking box back there where you order your food. I went around that guy, and now it's going to take 20 minutes.
She's got kind of that, like a little bit of that southern, like hawk-twa thing going. That, you know, so they're just like that down there. They're a little more vulgar.
I don't like that. What? Just so fucking rude. Everyone is so fucking rude. I hate it. Go to Taco Bell, order your food. They forget half your shit. You only got 3 things.
Uh-oh. There's been a correction on this, I think.
So Chris Chan's girlfriend is not pregnant?
I don't believe so, no. He put
Well.
out a tweet saying it wasn't true, but he could be lying. This could be one of his tricks.
I mean, I gotta hope that is true. That it isn't true that she's not pregnant. I don't think we need Chris Chan breeding.
Chris Chan 2.
Well, look, talk about unintended consequences. If you put this much attention on lol cows, you're adding value to them, and they will be able to replicate. You know,
That's true. That is a good point. Yeah.
They'll multiply.
Like,
yeah,
it's like putting water on your gremlins or whatever.
Yeah.
All right, we all got the idea. He said that his girlfriend was pregnant, but probably, hopefully, not true.
I try not to pay attention to this story because it's like, if you even want a TLDR on it, that at this point, like even just the TLDR, I think takes 3 hours, and it's just like that whole culture kind of bothers me a little bit. But
yeah,
what did I want to say about? Oh, did any of you guys watch that video? I saw it in recommended. It's kind of floating around. People posted on Discord that a video about like why autistic people like Sonic the Hedgehog. Did you guys see that video?
No.
Yet? Okay.
It rings true. Just hearing you say that, I'm like, yeah, they do.
Yeah. I want to know why. When I look at it, because it does seem to be true, but when I look at it, it doesn't seem like something an autistic person would like because you can't like get all the rings. It's like really sloppy. So I don't know. I need to watch that video. I want to see the reason.
So if someone is civilly committed typically you can hold them for up to 72 hours, but people are getting out within 24 hours, the majority of them. So what we want to do is let law enforcement come in and take the guns.
Good.
They're a danger to themselves.
Which you can't
or
do
others.
right now.
Well, because without being adjudicated. So because they're a danger to themselves.
You want them to take the guns and
when they are
not
committed.
go through 6 months of legal trials and everything.
Exactly.
What's your feelings about that, LP? Are you like, is there anyone that you think shouldn't have a gun? What's your stance on that?
No, I think everybody should be armed up to the teeth, especially the schizophrenics, because we need them to overthrow the sociopaths and the psychopaths. I'm not as pro gun as some of the people in my audience or whatever. I grew up in Canada and we don't have that culture here, but my 2 cents on this is basically like you got to be careful what you wish for, because I made this point before, but it's worth making again in this context where whenever there's like a mass shooting or a mass stabbing or one of these mass casualty events with some weirdo psycho terrorist dude, there'll always be this thing where they were like, oh, this person was known to the FBI, right? He was on the radar. And because conservatives hate the establishment, and so they hate the FBI, they'll use that as like a dunk to be like, oh, the FBI didn't do anything again. Like, why didn't you do anything? And I'm always like, careful what you wish for. Because, like, do you really want them taking away people's guns based off of pre-crime? which is like most conservatives are like strongly against that. They're gonna say that I'm straw manning and that
I would say
the
with
real
like
argument is
being
that the
Baker
FBI
acted,
makes them all go out and do the killings, which sometimes that's probably true, but not every time. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was cutting you off. I'm sorry. The what they're specifically talking about here in Florida, if you are involuntarily detained through the Baker Act, then they would hold your guns, and then you have to convince a judge that you're in your right mind to get them back. I wouldn't call that pre-crime, because most of the time, I think when you see the Baker Act is when someone has just unsuccessfully attempted to commit suicide. Mm-hmm. So they wake up in the hospital, they're not dead, and then the nurse or the doctor signs off on that this person is a risk to themselves and they need to be observed. And then the Florida statute has them held for 72 hours for evaluation, and then they have to convince a mental health professional that they're not currently a risk to themselves still, or they don't get released at the end of 72 hours. So it's like you're really down bad if you get Baker acted. It can also happen, like, this isn't just like my girlfriend called the cops and said I was being an asshole. The statute it specifically says that it's not, that it can't be triggered by someone acting antisocial or being intoxicated. So if you're like, if you're drunk and the cops come by for a wellness check and they ask like, have you been drinking, sir? If you answer like, yes, you're not going to be Baker acted. But if you...
Hey, gun owners, there's the cheat code. Just be drunk all the time.
I've been drinking. Yeah, and also
I get what you're saying. I'm like a little bit squeamish about just like this. There's the slippery slope aspect to it. Like if you give them an excuse to take it here, what's going to happen next, kind of thing. But
what would you do if it was your brother? Like, I think it's kind of compassionate. If someone has just attempted to commit suicide and it was not a cry for help, like it just was an unsuccessful attempt. And there have been people in my life who have cut down the street rather than across and survived, but they clearly were trying to go out. And so you wouldn't want them to have access to a shortcut to do it successfully if they're still in that state of mind when they go home. So you'd want to move their guns, So this is I know it's a very touchy thing, but it is just kind of like it's looking out for them, and it's looking out for who they might kill on their way out because they don't give a fuck, like maybe they don't like the idea of their girlfriend moving on after they die, so they're going to kill them, like Phil Hartman's wife did. So you're looking out for the people around them and them by trying to just take the most lethal means of ending somebody's life away from them. But
yeah, it's hard to argue with that. And also rip Phil Hartman. Shout out Phil Hartman.
Hemiplegic?
Instead of paraplegic.
So this is the one I was saying when we were looking at another teen movie or whatever, and I was saying how the woke have kind of lost their sense of humor and they're sort of just out of touch with how people are and think. This is like a really good example, I think.
Allison's paralysis is hemispheric. In her case, the right side of her body.
Could it be temporary?
Months, years. It all depends on how long it takes her to heal. Either way, it won't be easy.
Oh, my baby.
I think they'd like to speak with you.
What? Why?
Mr. Mulvaney, you panic bought a firearm and left it loaded and unlocked in the proximity of your daughter. And when she got hurt, you tried to cover it up by filing a false police report based on race, a felony in New York.
Wait.
No, I'm not done, because then you'll have the audacity to claim that all lives matter. While the police were combing the streets, profiling black and brown faces like mine, which apparently don't matter enough to you. And here's what I don't get. What I will never get is if it's intentional on your part or you're simply conditioned, because you definitely aren't the first to falsely accuse a brother. And I doubt you'll be the last.
Man, he got a real serious dressing down from the doctor there. This just has like all the elements of sort of libtard. The way they look at the world is like this, right? So white man commits crime, blames it on black man, and also says like all lives matter because he's racist. I mean, it's just so on the nose and so out of
It's very
touch with
cringe.
reality. Yeah.
This is the part where you thank me for saving your daughter's life.
We're not racists.
Uh-huh. Sure.
These shows are always this corny, but like in this particular case, it's like this is like a mic drop fantasy.
It's like shower arguments.
What?
You know, like that concept of shower arguments where you have an argument, like
Yeah,
a
staircase
hypothetical with
with-
yourself,
Yeah.
and then you write it into like a show.
This is the part where you should be thanking me. Like that's thinking 2 steps ahead and humiliating somebody. It's like it's just a ridiculous, unrealistic dialogue.
Yeah, there definitely is a kind of person who watches this and it just sort of confirms their already existing biases. Like they think this is really how the world is. It's like when they do those surveys and they ask libtards, like, how many unarmed black people do you think get shot by police every year? And they'll say like, I don't know, 10,000. And it's like, it's actually like more like 10. Yeah. You're way off. Yeah.
I'm into this. I don't know what.
No, I have the same. Yeah, exactly. This one was posted all over Twitter and every people. This is disgusting. You know, this is the end, like the end of Western civilization or whatever. And I'm
It's
like,
a rehearsal.
Yeah, and I mean the music still sounds good. And so all right, the conductor's a little bit eccentric, sure, but it's like, you know, who gives a shit really?
Yeah. It's an abstract thing. They're playing the entire band. So, you know, whatever helps them, you know, pick up the vibe and time their, you know, their contribution to the music. It's like if her showing that like this is a joyous part, this is a serious part, helps you like come in forcefully or lightly. It's like it makes sense why she's doing that with her face. So why don't people like this?
I think they just think that she's like she looks undignified or whatever, like kind of like her facial expressions and stuff like that. It's really a, you know, making a mountain out of molehill. There's basically nothing here. There was another video like a month ago or whatever where it was like a classical performance, but this black guy came out and started dancing and kind of like popping and locking and rolling around on the floor and shit. And that one, I was like, what the fuck is this, you know? But this one, I really don't mind.
You know what I think the better takeaway from this is? All right, just start it over real quick. The beginning of this Symphony 9 by Dvorak. Sorry, not that. Jaws, right?
Oh yeah.
So this is
it's
what John Williams cribbed
Jaws.
the Jaws theme from.
Ah.
And there's that's a rabbit hole if you want to go down it like this. Because I love Star Wars. I'm surrounded by Star Wars toys. I grew up with it, so I have a lot of affection for the Star Wars soundtrack. But John Williams has included homages in his music at a rate that I wasn't aware of until I saw a video compiling it. It's crazy how many things he's inspired by. It's just like a generous way to say it. I would call it just stealing.
This is like the copyright-free Jaws theme. If you want to use that in the video.
It is, dude. That's why I know this one specifically. I used this in the last video or in the next video because I was looking for how can I use the John Williams Jaws theme, and then I found this symphony. And I'm like, that's exactly what I need.
Did he do Lord of the Rings too, or is that someone else? Don't know. I just love the score for those. Yeah, I mean, this really is nothing to get worked up over.
Just be glad people are still making music like this, man.
Yeah.
Well, not really making it, they're just replaying
Keeping it alive. Yeah.
That's one of the things I was thinking about, like when a YouTuber starts like a music career, their music is always either pop or rap. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like anyone who does music now, it's either pop or rap. No one's trying to do like
No one's writing
opera. Yeah, no one's writing like an opera or a symphony or not or whatnot.
There are some people doing it, but it's just not as good as the old stuff, so it's kind of pointless.
Well, I guess the closest you'd get to it would be like electronic music, I guess.
Or movie soundtracks. Like I think the modern composers are doing they're doing scores for films.
Yeah,
right?
there are some really good scores. Yeah. Definitely into it.
Pretty cool song. All I know about this is it's in Ashura's wrath when he like fights the other one, like on the moon. That's all I know about this song.
And which one?
Is it called Ashura's Wrath or like whatever that game's called?
Schuler's Wrath?
Ashura's Wrath. Asura's Wrath.
Okay.
He fights like that dude on the moon. It's a game. And
Yeah.
I think it plays this for the entire fight.
Oh, nice. That track gets me going.
I woke up today, feeling brand new, nothing in my way. Sun gon' shine, yeah, it's here to stay. And I'm gonna say what I need to say. Hey, I'm feeling free. Everybody watching me doing me. Go ahead and look, cause you gon' see that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.
All right, so obviously that's the fucking dog from Black Mirror, but I'm tired of being fucking scared. We know they're making it. I want to fight that thing with an aluminum bat, okay? I just want to see if I can take its legs off. I'm ready to duel that thing. I'm sick of it. And that's a Chinese one, too.
Yeah,
so
you
I
took
think that's
the words right
appropriate
out of my
response.
mouth, man. I can't wait to get hunted down by a pack of these things for posting an offensive meme on Facebook or whatever.
I'm gonna be disrupting signals all around my house. So fucking, they're gonna have to be autonomous anyway to dive bomb me. There's gonna be no piloted drones attacking me, and I'm ready for this fucking thing. I think I can take out at least one of them.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit harder when they have like machine guns mounted on their backs or whatever. But
Yeah, okay. Or like Elon Musk says, when they move so fast that you can't see them without a strobe light. Yeah, that's kind of scary, but.
Well,
they're not there yet, so
how
fuck
would that
this
even
thing.
work?
Stupid dog.
Feeling free. Everybody watching me doing me. Go ahead and look, cause you gon' see that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.
So I'm barred from going to a park because of a service animal.
What?
Do you own this park?
I live right up there.
So do I.
do this 3 times a week.
Okay, so? Do you own this park?
Service animals are not allowed.
Do you own this park?
Dogs are not allowed on this trail. I'm recording you guys.
We're from the community college, that's fine.
What?
We're from the community college, that's why we're here today. We're on a field trip. So this service dog's allowed in the classroom as well. I'm pretty sure it's a federally protected law.
Yeah.
No, this is not. This belongs to the city of Fort Collins.
So the way the federal law
You're
works,
saying that the American with Disabilities Act doesn't apply to
federal law trumps state law.
To city of Fort Collins regulations.
When you have
Trump,
a
she's
protected
triggered.
wildlife area.
This is like Better Call Saul, like the scene when he's trying to get off of the community service. and he's like citing all these random laws.
So this was another one that people had very strong opinions on Twitter, right? Either like this woman's a Karen and she should mind her own business and shut the fuck up. Or I saw multiple people, saying we need to stop shitting on Karens. Like they they maintain social order. Like they're like the white blood cells or whatever, protecting your society from like, you know, degradation or whatever. Which personally, I agree with that. And what I loved about this video, or the viral tweet that had like 30 million views, is it got community noted. And the community note explained that the Karen was at least potentially correct, that there are certain contexts in which service dogs can be prohibited. If there's like an endangered animal or around or whatever like that, there are actually areas that service dogs aren't allowed. And the other two cents on this is that like these service dogs are out of control, man. Everybody has a fucking service dog.
It's
now.
a scam at this
Yeah,
point.
you're not
Yeah.
blind. Like, come on, what do you? Oh, you got anxiety, so now you're gonna take your dog everywhere.
Oh, it's not even a blindness dog.
Yeah, the emotional support animals are like the equivalent of a medical marijuana card. You know, back in the day, it's like it's a sort of a loophole to take your dog on the plane and into areas where you're not allowed to have your dog off a or what is it, outside of a. What would you normally have to do? You'd have to stow the dog underneath the plane, and they potentially could freeze. So wouldn't it be better if you could keep them on your lap or something? So like, get these emotional support certificates, and then you're not allowed to ask them for the papers or something.
Yeah, that's another thing. I like that's what the people in this video, the people with the dog, were saying, is like, we don't have to provide proof or whatever, or that, like, that's the thing too. And like, yeah, I mean, fuck these service dog people. Honestly, they've ruined the whole thing. They act so special. Like, look at me with my dog where it's not supposed to be. Fuck you.
That is a hard and fast rule. Did you see the disturbance of the animals around you as you walked?
So service dogs are legally permitted anywhere in the country that visitors can go. So even if dogs are excluded, this is a service animal. So you can call the authorities all you want, but technically this is a completely legal thing.
Did you know that there are protected...
We're gonna move on, okay?
All right.
You got it?
You're not hurt.
No, but we're fucking broke!
What?
We're broke, and we can't afford hires!
It's not my problem.
Why didn't you have a work? Have a fucking work! Please!
No.
Fuck you! Piece of fucking shit! God damn it, I would give a shit!
Mental health crisis in the country, exhibit 1027. Well, if somebody's freaking out like that and they go into their car like that, I would be a little bit like, is this person getting a knife? Are they getting a gun? What are they doing? Like, I would be concerned in that moment when she reaches for the door and goes in. But yeah, so this chick hit the other lady with her car and tried to do like a hit and run, but she got chased down, and now she's freaking out because she's going to have to face the consequences of her own actions.
It sucks to be broke, though. That broke, man. Like,
yeah, I know. I think, like, I can kind of, you know, you do feel a little bit bad for her because you can tell like how worried she is. But man,
the bratty, narcissistic response is
Right.
it's dysregulated for sure.
Fucking work! Please! Fuck you! Piece of fucking shit!
You know, she needs to.
It's not this lady's fault you hit her car. Like,
Yeah. This is just low. Like, what would it be in Dungeons and Dragons? Is like, this is low, like, charm, like, low persuasive ability. Like, she needs to. She needs to up her charisma specs here because, like, screaming "please" after like everything else, like, that's not very persuasive.
Yeah, she tried to do the D20 roll for charisma, but she had a critical failure.
Why did that to me? Oh, no, Mars, Bruce! Who cares?
What a disaster.
It's cosmetic bullshit!
All right, this has been a long one, but we are getting down to the last like.
I
one
feel
or two
that the
clips
goal
here.
with that is not like a mental health thing. It's like her trying to create a situation that's so awkward that the other woman just sort of leaves.
Yeah, I mean, maybe this person will take pity on me if I act totally unstable and freak out hard enough. Maybe they'll just let me go. Could be.
I've seen this week people are taking the lyrics of Defying Gravity and really holding space with that and feeling power in that.
This is weird.
I didn't know that was happening.
I've seen it, yeah.
That's
It is
really
weird.
powerful. That's what I wanted.
Man, like this is a clip I could watch like 20 times to pick up all the weird shit in it. So, okay. First of all, I fucking hate that phrase "holding space."
That was my main thing too. Like, what, holding space? What?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I was already familiar with that one. Like, I know someone who talks like that, and that phrase is I already hated it. And what I hate to tell you, but like that's one where even when you know what it means, it's gonna be more annoying the more times you hear it. It never gets less annoying. It's just like I could go off on that fucking phrase because it's an abstraction. It doesn't mean anything. Like if you were writing this in an essay or whatever, like it would be crossed out by the professor. Like holding space, explain abstraction.
Yeah. Does it just mean like look, I'm here, like look at me or whatever, like
it means
like
basically
taking
like
space, basically.
you are so what it means is a poor fit for the words. What it sounds like is holding a Twitter space or holding someone's place in line or something,
Right.
But what it means is basically like you are quietly, silently supporting and validating the statement, an emotional statement that your friend is making or an ally is making or whatever, right? So even when you know what that means and how you could correctly use it, it's not really correctly used here, and it's used weirdly. Like it's still awkward even when even when you speak this language, because what she's talking about is like that people on Twitter were playing the music from the Wicked musical,
Yeah.
and
I
then
got that
just
part. Yeah.
silently, just appreciating it or sitting there with their pet as they played it through. So for her to say that's powerful without having seen it, like it's just a soundtrack to random Twitter things, or to random TikToks, like that shouldn't have gotten that response from her. And then the weird, like Ariana Grande is clearly disoriented by what's going on here, but she sees that there's like a potential clip happening here, that something cringe or emotional is happening, and you see this very strange signal she gives her. So like she pinches her index finger, and like if I was pinching your index finger, like only your finger or your fingernail, that would be me telling you like, and if my face is completely expressionless but I'm squeezing your index finger really hard, that would be me telling you like, shut the fuck up, we'll talk about this later, right?
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be me holding space for you. I would hold your hand if I was trying to support you or like touch you in a more human, affectionate way. Pinching her fingernail, that's a weird signal she's giving there. What is that?
Man, we're getting the deep analysis here from Nerd City, you guys. You really thought about this clip more than I did. There it is.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was happening.
I've seen it on a couple posts. I don't know how widespread, but I am
she
in
walks it back.
queer media.
Yeah, that's the weird. That's what the real cherry on top is, that the host realizes that she might have like kind of outkicked her coverage on how much of a trend this is, and then tries to de-emphasize how many people are doing it. I've seen 2 people do it, so like let's not.
Yeah.
But then it's weird to see someone who's in a musical saying that their entire goal with being in this play and then the movie was to have people basically just silently co-sign the lyrics you didn't write and your performance of the song. That's a weird thing. That's a weird reaction from her. I think she just doesn't know. I think she just wasn't prepared for this.
Well, did she say that like that was the goal? I missed that.
Yeah. She goes, "That's all I ever wanted."
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's weird, man.
So
Yeah.
that's my,
That's
you
really
know,
cool.
yeah.
So the reason, one of the big reasons he bought Twitter/X is because he wanted to make it his own platform, remake it in his own image. And I think this really gets at it. Look at this, the party ID among those who regularly use X/Twitter for news. Back in 2022, 65% of those who regularly use Twitter/X for news were Democrats. Just 31% were Republicans. Look at where we are today. Just a completely different picture. Now it's basically split between Democrats at 48%, Republicans at 47%. And what I should note, Mr. Berman, is this new overall makeup matches the overall electorate far better. And more than that, John, look at where Mr. Musk's net worth is today versus where it was just 2 months ago. He is the richest man in the world by far. 2 months ago,
dude made $75 billion in the last 2 months. That's wild. Oh man, I gotta learn
Tesla
his
stock
secrets.
went up with the election of Trump, or like what happened?
Yeah, I think it's something.
I don't even know
like
what they're
that.
estimating.
It's
I think
gotta
a lot of
be
that's illiquid.
stock and Bitcoin going up a lot. Yeah.
Shit.
Well, hey, as far as the balanced user statistics on the site, like mission accomplished for him. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to make it it's like job well done.
Yeah, the libtards don't like that though when there's an even playing field. They're not.
Yeah,
used,
it's interesting
they're not
that
used to
because
it.
they see it as like a right-wing site, like on par with 4chan. Although even 4chan's not even really that right-wing.
Right.
Or they're just not used to seeing any of this sentiment being allowed to be expressed is the thing. It's like it was suppressed and, wallpapered over by people having to bite their tongue or by people just not participating. So there was an illusion of massive support for radical ideas and the unpopularity of common sense. And then now that people don't feel like they're going to be permanently banned for saying what they believe, like you're starting to see, some of the crazier shit get shot down. And so that to someone who was unknowingly radicalized the past few years, they can't orient themselves with what's going on. They think that all of a sudden they're being overtaken by a new wave of what I guess fascism or something, like the enemy. But really it's just like people are allowed to tell you that you're being crazy and delusional now.
Yeah, and something that's really funny is there was a clip from it was either yesterday or the day before on CNN. This guy's on the panel and he's saying, Twitter is like the most balanced like social media platform now. It's the most even, and all the other panelists started freaking out and they're like, "There's no way that's true. Where did you get that source from?" Yeah, what's the source? And he's like, "It was reported on CNN."
Like this network, yeah.
look at this. His net worth was $252 billion. Look at where we are today, $314 billion. He is by far the richest man ever to be on this planet. So yes, he's not as popular. Yes, Twitter/X perhaps is not as popular, but it's a much different platform, one that more represents Elon Musk's, let's say, political instincts.
It's like he
and
got
is now
rich or
a
stay
far
mad.
wealthier man.
Talk about ESG.
Weren't you earlier saying something about masculine brands, but they're using like transgenders or whatever?
Mm-hmm. This is another Bud Light disaster unfolding.
Yeah, I would assume that most people who buy Jaguars are men, right? For straight.
And who like the the interior that looked like a yacht, like that wooden inlay that was very unique to Jaguar, and that hood ornament, the distinctive hood ornament. No, like no one else did that other than Rolls-Royce. It was an awesome, 30 years of Jaguar body designs, and then things have kind of went off the rails. But hey, speaking of India, Jaguar's owned by an Indian holding group owns Jaguar now. It's not a British company anymore.
They got arrested on that one.
But this is what I would associate with like an Indian
because the UK government
aesthetic.
sells off all our companies to foreign guys.
But look at this color palette to me is like if you hire Indian graphic designers and don't give them a color palette, they'll pick things like this. It'll be like green, yellow, red, pink all together or whatever. I just thought that was funny. That it's like it is actually Indian owned now, and like this look is
like
sort of like an
Bollywood
Indian
colors.
aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like, think about Bollywood, right? Like where everybody's walking out and they're about to do a dance number, and like all of the lead actors are completely dressed in a primary color, right? So it'll be like the all red traditional Indian outfit of one guy, and then the other guy's in all blue, and then you know what I'm talking about? This looks like that. I mean, they're talking about being original, but there's a Mac homage there with the girl with the crew cut and the sledgehammer. It's obviously a reference to that Big Brother ad.
Right. Yeah.
So looking forward at Jaguar,
I think this is the last clip here.
creativity and individuality have been at the core of Jaguar's brand since its inception, and we're about to bring Jaguar back to something truly special.
My whole life I've said Jaguar. Have I been saying it wrong? Or it sounds so weird. Jaguar.
It's an interesting marketing tactic though, because Jaguar was always like sort of a Bond type deal.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, it's very
that.
masculine, yeah.
But it's not. It's like masculine in a weird way. It's like you're not high class, but the stereotype of a guy who drove a Jaguar was the kind of guy who would he'd steal an ice machine from like a hotel,
like a BMW,
that kind of thing.
It's kind of like entry. It's
like a sort of like
luxury.
sleazy, like slick backed hair guy in like a white suit. You know what I mean? He's sort of like a criminal, but he's not like a murderer.
All right, we don't need to finish this clip. We all got the idea. That's where it comes from. It comes from people like that being in the company, and there's been a big backlash against Jaguar, and they're trying to like dial it back now. All right, you guys, let's get into this. It's been kind of a long one here. I want to let you guys go, my lovely guests, but we do have a few super chats to look at, so let's just get into that. Mr. Wright sent $10 on Odyssey. Thank you very much, sir, for the support. He sent a couple images. Okay, let me get the YouTube super chats here. Meximan and Cheese sent $5. His dad probably doesn't care. He excommunicated his mom till the day she died. If one of my kids did that to my wife, it'd probably be unforgivable, with a capital U. So that's the trans abortion person, and he's saying the dad probably doesn't care that he got blocked, which I guess makes sense. What do you? Is Unforgivable a reference to, like, that was a Western movie or something, wasn't it? Or am I wrong?
Is that Unforgiven?
Unforgiven, right? That's not never mind. He capitalized Unforgivable, so I thought there was some kind of deeper meaning there, but I don't know. Super Task Miss Manager sent $10, and it's just a sunglasses emoji. MKOK sent $10. She said, "Happy Thanksgiving, man. Thank you for that. Appreciate it." ST sent $20 on Streamlabs and said, "Happy Thanksgiving, LP and everyone. Great show. Nerd was a good guest."
Thank you, chat.
Yeah. Little bit of a snub there for Bunjee. But, you know.
Well, shout out to Bunjee. Okay, so Bunjee, let me give a shout out to Bunjee real quick, because I think your audience and most of people who are into like politics and drama and commentary might not have found Bunjee yet, but he's very good. He's like he's a throwback who seems to have stepped out of 2016 YouTube. So if you're someone who's like, oh man, I miss when YouTube was the Wild West and people could just kind of like, you know, there were no sacred cows or whatever. Bunjee just doesn't give a fuck. So he makes fun of whatever he thinks is funny and says whatever he wants. And you might not always agree with him, but it tends to be really funny. So I would, until Colossal starts uploading regularly again, I would say Bunjee is like the best of that style of content right now. So subscribe to Big Bunjee.
Yeah, it is really funny from what I saw. And I put links in the description of the video to their YouTubes and Twitter accounts so you can check them out there. I also recommend checking out Bunjee's videos. It's good. Okay, Mark Beamer sent $20. He said, happy belated birthday and happy Thanksgiving. Thank you very much for the $20. Frog Respecter sent $5. Porn is a massive signifier of what's going on. No one is searching for black women. They're searching for white women getting debased. Probably some truth to that. Frog Respecter sent $3. He said, look at the porn. A vast majority is demographics, has sex with white women. Okay, same thing there, basically.
You know, the fucking blacked thing.
Yeah.
You could probably write a whole dissertation on that one, but like, I don't know if that's so much about the white woman being debased as it is about the white fear being sort of like faced and played with in a safe environment. You know, like this is something that he was afraid could happen, and then it's like he's making it happen. And there's a lot of fetishes that kind of work out like that. It's not something that somebody particularly likes, but in the context of consent, they're able to sort of like be aroused by what would normally make them afraid. That's what I think it is.
Okay, well, that's all the super chats. So that's basically the show. I want to give another huge thank you to the guests, and of course, I'll give you guys a chance to plug whatever you want.
Shout out to Pornhub. Shout out to Indians. You know, definitely need to jerk off more. And everybody.
Nice.
But yeah, I've been working. I haven't announced this publicly, but Bunjee's going to feature in a video I've been working on. I can't wait to finish that and come out with it.
Is that the video on narcissism or whatever that you were talking about?
It's a yeah, it does. It uses YouTube drama as sort of like a canvas to talk about other issues that I think that can help you navigate difficult people, whether they're like, you know, a boss, a parent that's, you know, hard to work with. You're like when you hear how these personality styles work and like, you know, some of the mental tricks and defense mechanisms that are common and observed and empirically, you know, verified, it helps to learn that stuff, because not only will you like, you know, you'll use the terms in an accurate way, which is better than just like calling people psychos and narcissists and whatever, and you don't like literally know what it means. So like, I think it's good to learn the psychology terms. And we've been in commentary, we've basically been told we can't talk about psychology ever since Shane Dawson fucked up the Jake Paul series. So I'm trying to kind of like do a good job correctly talking about it, as, you know, like as accurately as I possibly can, given the spectrum of opinions on these subjects. There's no like right or wrong answer in psychology. There's just like, what is the current going theory? What could be the most true? That kind of thing. I think it's very interesting. It'll help you navigate, you know, like people in your life and understand maybe even people that you're interested in, you know, public figures and stuff. So yeah, it is talking about narcissism again. And Bunjee and I talk about Trump a bit, or at least, you know, enjoy some clips of Trump in this video.
Yeah, we got the real Trump in the video, the real one.
It's a collab with Bunjee, Donald Trump, and myself.
Nice. And Bunjee, what should people look out for on your channel, or is there other places that they should look for you than YouTube?
You can find me at H3H3 podcast highlights on YouTube. I should have a video coming out this week, and then I've got a couple more, like 3 more videos I want to get out by the end of the year, because, well, I'm not trying to hit 100K, but it'd be nice if I got 100K by the end of the year.
Yeah,
considering I started the year with 400.
Yeah. Help him get a silver play button before YouTube deletes his channel.
Yeah, I don't even know if they'll send me one, to be honest.
Have you gotten
You know what's funny
any
is-
strikes on your channel, Bunjee, or have you been?
I've had 2 warnings.
Okay.
One was from, it was an H3H3 clip. It was the one where he was saying like Ben Shapiro. He wants like Ben Shapiro to die.
Oh
in the first
yeah.
Holocaust. And then I had another one from my last video, which, funnily enough, does not come from what you'd expect it to come from. It comes from a clip of like Filthy Frank. There's like a Filthy Frank clip where he's like licking anything for views' nipple. Like it's on YouTube at the moment. I had it in a video for like a second and they striked it down.
That's wild. Yeah. The warning system is so much nicer though. In the old days, that would have just been like 2 strikes on your account and the suspension and all that. I really do like the change they made there. All right, you guys, that's the show for today. Thanks so much to the guests. Thank you to everybody watching. Thank you to the people who send the super chats. You make the show possible. And everybody have a happy Thanksgiving. And we will see you next time.
Thanks, LP. Thanks for joining us, chat. Talk later.